Hello, my name is Rebecca Mercedes Lynn Collins, and I'm here today to give a presentation on my PowerPoint how Russia and the United States are more alike than what is realized. See, America and Russia are known for always going against one another and trying to prove which one is the better country. But honestly, if you were to look at their histories and how they actually rose up to these global powers that they are today, you would think that they would be a more friendly or harmonious relationship between them. I think it was de Tocqueville who said it best when he said, I allude to the Russians and the Americans. Both of them have grown up unnoticed and will list the intention of mankind was directed elsewhere. They have suddenly placed themselves in the front ranks among the nations, and the world learned of their existence and their greatness at almost the same time. See, this was written in the 19th century, and it was a prediction of what would become of these two countries. But looking back, if you even look at just the original intention of their revolutions, you would see that there's much in common to be there. See, both of the revolutions didn't actually start out as revolutions. They started as simple protests that escalated to that point when they saw what they were protesting about and what they wanted to change just wasn't going to happen. And as it escalated further, for America, it started out just they wanted representation about what was taxed in their own country. And what this escalated to was in the end they actually pioneered the first government where it was a representative democracy. And something very similar happened in Russia where the people rose up to protest about the working conditions and the fact they wanted liberty and better pay. But when they did this, it escalated further, and by the end of it, they became the first communist country, full communist country, which was a brand new thing for both America and Russia. They were just brand new forms of government, never actually put into place other than on paper. But if you look further than that, there are other things that align as well, such as they both had periods of rapid expansion that was not imperialist in any way. For America, the term was named by Lewis O'Sullivan Manifest Destiny, as it was destiny that these people go forth, claim this land, and to spread democracy. That was how it was looked at whenever the Americans are spreading across the whole entire continent from sea to sea. For Russia, how they saw it was they were spreading from one country and to another in an attempt to make all Slavic people under one flag, which happened to be the Russian flag. But they both were trying to look after the best interest of their own people, whether that be the Slavics or the Americans. One of the main things to remember about these periods of expansion, was the fact that they were not imperialistic. Whenever Russia and America gained territory, it wasn't an attempt just to grab resources from them and then just kind of cast them aside. They had every intention to absorbing them into their own country's infrastructure and giving those people the same rights and liberties that anyone born and spent their whole lives into Russia and America the same liberties they had. But it wasn't until after World War II that these two countries became global powers and grew into themselves. One of the main things that did it was the United Nations being formed. Because whenever it was formed, it has a Security Council in it. And what this Security Council does is anything that the UN does, it has to have this whole Security Council's approval in doing it. And ever since its creation, the United States and Russia have always had a seat on this council, which gave them the ability to have a foot, or at least a toe, in global affairs since then. But after World War II, the biggest thing that happened was the Cold War. And what this was a time of spies and espionage and arms race between Russia and America, where no one really fought. It was just more of, you have the bigger weapon, now I have the bigger weapon. They just went back and forth with this. The United States built the first nuclear bomb, and it wasn't long after Russia built their bomb. After Russia built their bomb, it spurred America to build the first hydrogen bomb, and so forth and so forth. It has been going on like that for quite a while. But these two countries are both at the top of technological innovations since the Cold War. I mean, it just never ended. They had the race, the arms race, and they also had the space race to see who could be the first to get a man in space and who could be the first to get the man on a moon. It just went in circles about how they spurred each other on in an attempt to just best one another. And if they would have take that time and the resources they put into just trying to one up one another, I cannot stop. I can't help but stop and think about what could have been done if they had actually helped one another along. I mean, America and Russia have always been outliers. I mean, they didn't really fit quite in with Europe, they didn't fit in with Asia. I mean, they were just kind of on their own in their own ways. And no one really noticed them. And, like, Britain thought of America as just, oh, they're just over there, let's not mess with them. And no one really thought of Russia, period, hardly. Because it was just there. It was just a country full of snow and ice. But they didn't really think of them until after they became these big global powers. And by that point, they're just, oh, hey, that happened. But they're trying to best one another. They push each other forward to stand on top of global powers. So they're pretty much on top of the world by this point. While Russia and America are two very different nations, if you look just beneath the surface, you can see that a lot of their history is actually very similar, and how they actually got to the point of global powers was actually thanks to each other and their contests in between each other. So they might have more in common than what you might suspect. But that is the end of my presentation. I wanted to thank you very much for listening.